Hey there, angry faithful. I just wanted to drop in, bend your ear a little bit, get your attention. So if you're not listening, drop what you're doing and pay attention to me because I'm here to inform you that not only can you get your daily, maybe if you're binging it, I'm not sure, that's entirely up to you, but you can multiply your doses of angry me fuckery by paying attention to all of the platforms upon which you can find either the dulcet tones of my voice and David's voice or my pretty face and David's not so pretty face. Anyways, digressing, we are on YouTube, we are on Spotify, we're on Rumble, we're on Google, Apple Podcast. We have a TikTok page. We're on Twitter, Instagram, and of course Facebook. So if you find yourself fuckery deprived, curl up with a nice hot mug of shut the fuck up and just listen. Open those ear holes and be prepared to be cream pied like it's the first time. Thanks for listening.
Welcome, angry faithful. Today on Psychos and Sociopaths, Johnny's not going to be here. He's got some stuff that he has to handle up with his kids and everything and family life. But we're going to go over the killer Harold Shipman. That's Ship. Man, he's his known acquaintances as Fred Shipman was an English general prosecutor, practitioner. What? Hold on, we'll have to do the
practitioner.
General practitioner who considered to be the most prolific serial killer in modern history, with an estimated of 250 victims. On January 31st, 2000, Shipman was found guilty in murder of 15 patrons under his care. He was sentenced to life imprisonment with the recommendation that he served his whole entire life. Shipman died by suicide, hanging himself in a cell at HM Prison, Wakefield, west of Yorkshire, on January 13th, 2004. There's also stuff called the Shipman Inquiries, 2-year-long investigation of all deaths certified by Shipman. Let's begin. Shipman was born January 14th, 1946 on Bestwood Estate, a constal estate in Nottingham, the second of the three children of Harold Frederick Shipman and Vieira Britna. His working class parents were devout Methodist. I don't know why that. Anyways, when growing up, Shipman was an accomplished rugby player in the youth league. Shipman passed his 11th plus in 1957. I wonder what that is. 11 plus is a standard estimated administration to some students in England and Northern Ireland in their last year of primary education, which governs administration to grammar school and other secondary schools, which use academic selection, basically SATs here in the United States. And the main reason why I wanted to do this one is because we have a lot of English or UK audience now. So I'm going to do this guy for our UK viewers. So if UK viewers comment, leave us a like, do the standard stuff so I can get popular and I can live my life a little bit better. Not really. It's not going to bother me if you don't. It really doesn't. I just like doing this, talking to people about serial killers. Anyways, He excelled as a long distance runner. In his final year at school, served as vice captain of the athletics team. Shipman was particularly close to his mother, who died of lung cancer when he was at the age of 17. Her death came to a manner similar to what later became Shipman's own Morris Aprade, basically how he does his killings. In later stages of her disease, she had morphine administered at home by a doctor. Shipman wishes his mother's pain subside despite her terminal conditions until her death on the 21st of June, 1963. On November 1966, he married Palmerose May Toby. Toby. The couple had 4 children. Shipman studied medicine in Leeds School of Medicine, University of Leeds, graduating in 1970. He began his prophylactic general infirmary in Profax, West Rig of Yorkshire, and in 1974 took his first position as general practitioner. It, what is? I'm kind of curious. Is a medical professional, general practitioner, is a physical who treats acute and chronic illnesses and provides preventive care and health education on patients of all ages. Their duties are not confined to specific fields of medicine, and they have a particular cells of training. Oh, basically, it's House. Okay. There's a TV show called House. I guess he was pretty much the same thing. I never got that. He was a doctor, I guess, at Abraham Omran Medical Center in Tomorne. I'm gonna butcher this. I don't care. Todd Morton. Okay, there we go. The following year, Shipman was caught forging prescriptions for pethylene for his own use and was fined £600 and briefly attended a drug rehabilitation clinic in York. He became a GP at Donnybrook Medical Center in Hyde, General Manchester, Greater Manchester in 1977. Shipman continued working as a GP in Hyde throughout the 80s and established his own surgery at 21 Market Street in 1993, becoming a respected member of the community. In 1983, he was interviewed in a edition of Granda television documentary World in Action on how the mentally ill should be treated in the community. A year after his conviction, the interview was rebroadcast on Tonight with Trevor McDonald. Detection. This is how you got detection, I guess. In March 1998, Leonard Reynolds of Brooks Surgery and Hyde expressed concern to John Parlour. I bet it's Pollard. The corner of South Manchester District about the high death rate among the Shipman's patient. In particular, she was concerned about the large number of cremations formed for elderly women that had sorry, my allergies are kicking in really bad. In particular, was concerned about the large number of cremation forms for elderly women that he had needed countersigned. Police were unable to find the sufficient evidence to bring charges and closed the investigation on 17th of April. The Shipman inquiries later blamed General Manchester Police for assigning inexperienced officers to the case. After the investigation was closed, Shipman killed 3 more people. This is another note that me and Tansy talked about uh, on uh, 2 weeks ago. Yeah, 2 weeks of this episode airing, where it doesn't. The police are human, so I mean they could have failed horribly, but it's one of those things. They're human, and even Tansy says it, he has like a C average, so he's not the smartest book in the. He's not in the brightest crayon in the box. So, uh, Shaws became suspicious as many of the elderly customers he took into the hospital, who seemingly to be in good health, died in Shipman's care. Shipman's later last victim was Catherine Gruddy, sorry, who was found dead at her home on the 24th of June, 1998. He was the last person to see her alive. He later signed her death certificate recording the cause of death as old age. Uh, Grudy's, Grudy's daughter. Uh, well, if I get this right, I'm thinking solicitor. Yeah, solicitor Angela Wardorf. Basically, she was a prostitute. Concerned when solicitor Brian. What? Hold on. This is a legal practitioner who traditionally deals with the most legal matters of. Oh. Basically, a lawyer. Solicitor means something totally different in the United States. It's basically a prostitute. We don't say that. Because I was like, because the Brian Burgess kind of messed me up. I was like, Brian Burgess, God, there's a lot of fucking whores in UK and man whores, gigolos. I got confused. My dyslexia kicked in pretty hard, and that in UK has different terminology for a lot of stuff. Basically, I almost called 2 people whores on this podcast. That's fucking hilarious. Informed her that a will had been made, apparently by her mother, with doubts about its authenticity. Uh, the will to exclude Woodorf and her children, but left £386,000 to Shipman. Yeah, I would question that too about that amount. As Burgess urged, Woodruff went to the police, who began an investigation. Grody's body was exhumed and found to have contained traces of heroin, often used as pain control, demorphine, heroin. Uh, there's a lot of heroin products. They're opiates. For pain control and everything like that. That's the reason why pain management and everything, which I hate pain management. But it's also used to control pain in terminal cancer patients. Shipman claimed that Grudy, is it Grudy? I'm going to get this name right. Hold on. Grundy. Oh, I had it right. I know. Okay. I had been an addict and showed them comments he had written to the effect of the compressed medical journal. However, police examination of his computer showed that the injuries were written after her death. So basically, he was showing that she was addicted to heroin or demorphine, and she wasn't. However, police examination of his September 1998, it was found. Sorry. Sorry, everybody. In September 1998, was found to own a Brother typewriter of the type used to make forged wheels. A prescription murder, a 2000 book by journalist Brian Whittle and Gene Ritchie, suggests that Shipman forged the will either because he wanted to be caught or because his life was out of control and because he planned to retire at 55 and leaving UK. Honestly, I don't think it was the fact that he wanted to be caught, I think, was for the fact that he wanted to retire and leave the UK. Most criminals, unless they're like super addicted to it, which sometimes that is the case, they're addicted to murder, they're addicted to stealing. It's all compulsion and everything like that. But they usually have an out plan. Some people don't have an out plan; they just keep on going. They want to take the easy road, and sometimes the easy road is the hardest road to get out of. Yeah. Well, think about it this way. Uh, you're you're taking an easier pathway, but it's through like forests and uh bumpy roads and everything. Get your car stuck. The most simplest pathway that you thought was going to take, now you're shelling out to fix your car, get it towed, all kinds of stuff that happens. Most of the time, it's just a lot easier to take the pathway of least resistance, like a highway. The police investigated other death shipments had certified, investigated 15 specimen cases. They discovered the pattern of his administering legal dose of Delphine, signing patient's death certificate, and then falsifying medical records to indicate that they had been in poor health. In 2003, I'm going to butcher that name, so I'm going to go ahead and Spiegelhalter. David Spiegelhalter suggested that statistical monitoring could have led to an alarm being raised at the end of 1996 when there was 67 excessive deaths and female age over 65 years of age compared to 119 by 1998. Now, we actually went over a case. That was our first case, Vicky Dawn Jackson, that ended up doing the same thing in our neck of the woods in a town called Nakona. Nakona Boot Factory was there and everything like that. It's the reason why it's up in arms. But she ended up doing the same thing. She was a nurse. She ended up killing a lot of the elderly patients and everything, and almost killed a couple of patients that were in the hospital because that hospital it does hospice and hospital care. But I digress. Trial of imprisonment. Shipman's trial began with Princeton Crown Court on 5th of October 1999. He was charged with murders of 15 women by lethal injection of Delmeat. I'm gonna butcher this. It's morphine, but it's a special kind of morphine, apparently. Diamorphine. All between 19. I'm just gonna say morphine. Fuck that shit. They don't even be fucking Pacific. Probably change it. All between 1995 and 1998. Maureen West, Irene Turner, Lizzie Allen, Adams, Jean Langley, Ivy Looms, Grimshaw, Marie Quinn, Catherine Wafstaff, Benka Prunefeed, Nora Nuttall, uh, Pamela Hiller. Almost hit Hitler. I'm not gonna lie. I almost fucked that up really bad. Maureen Ward, Winfred Mellor, Jonah Melina, and Catherine Grundy. Shipman legally representatives tried to unsuccessfully to have the Grundy case tied separately from the others, as a motive was shown by the alleged forgery of Grundy's will. On the 31st of January 2000, after 6 days of deliberation, the jury found Shipman guilty of 15 counts of murder and 1 count of forgery. Mr. Justice Forbes. I wonder if that's his whole fucking name. Oh, okay. No, Sir John Thiering Forbes is a retired judge. Okay, so Mr. Justice Forbes subsequently sentenced Shipman to life in imprisonment on all 15 counts of murder, with a recommendation that he never be released. To be served concurrently with a sentence of 4 years of forgery of Grundy's will. On February 11th, 11 days after his conviction, Shipman was struck off the medical register by the General Medical Council (GMC). 2 years later, Home Secretary David Blanken confirmed the judge would whole life tariff. Yeah, tariff. Just a month before British government ministers lost their power to set minimum terms for prisoners. Oh my God, he could have gotten out. Maybe. While authorities could have brought many additional charges, they concluded that a fair hearing would be impossible in the views of enormous publicity surrounding the original trial. Furthermore, the 15 life sentences already handed down rendered further legalization unnecessary. Oh, okay. They should have just killed him. Shipman became friends with fellow serial killer Peter Moore while incarcerated. We'll go over him. We'll do a British month for September, I guess. Shipman consistently denied his guilt, disputing the scientific evidence against him. He never made any public statement about his actions. Shipman's wife, Primrose, steadfast maintained her husband's innocence even after his conviction. Shipman is the only doctor in history of British medicine found guilty of murdering patients. John Bodkin Adams was charged in 1957 with murdering a patient. Amidst rumors he had killed dozens more over a 10-year period and possibly provided a role model for Shipman. However, he was acquitted. Historians Pamela Colin was argued that because of Adams' accusation, there was no impetus to the evidence, the flaws of the British legal system until Shipman's case. Now to his death. Shipman hanged himself in his cell in HM Prison, Wakefield, at 6:20 a.m. on January 13th, 2004, the eve of his 58th birthday. He was pronounced dead at 8:10 a.m. A statement from Her Majesty Prison Services, that's long term, we just call him Warden, indicated that he had hanged himself from the window bars of his cell using his bed sheets. That happens a lot. I used to work corrections, and the weirdest one that we had to deal with was he was on the bottom bunk, and he tied the sheet onto the top bunk. And mind you, a cell is literally probably around about 8 feet tall. It's not that high. The cell isn't that high, so you can't hang yourself from anything other than the bunks. And they try to get it to where you can't do it. I mean, that cell is technically supposed to be suicide proof for hangings and everything like that. But what they did is they made soapy water, poured it on the ground, tied the sheets onto his neck and onto the bed frame, and just hung himself, and they couldn't get up because of the soapy floor. So that they got rid of the bars and the windows and everything like that because they used to use those all the time. But uh, there was one, and I know I'm getting off topic. There was one officer, correctional officer, saying that there was one guy that was jumping off the top bunk onto the onto the and I laugh, but he basically he didn't bludgeon himself to death, but he made himself really stupid. He jumped off the top bunk into the steel uh toilet, and he kept on bashing his head in, hoping that it would kill him, but it didn't. Uh Shipman's death divided national newspapers. The Daily Mirror branded him a cold coward and condemning the prison staff for allowing his suicide to happen. However, the Sun ran a celebratory front page headline: "Shipman, Shipman, hooray!" That's weird. The Independent called for the inquiry into Shipman's suicide to look more widely at the state of UK prisons as well as the welfare of the inmates. I hate to tell everybody this. I mean, all these newspapers trying to get clout. I mean, we call it clout now. They're just trying to sell newspapers. But they'll type anything and everything just to get uh some people to buy their newspapers. Nowadays it's clickbait. But if the inmate's gonna try to kill himself, they're sometimes they succeed, sometimes they don't. So some victims, they usually succeed if they really are uh wanting to die. Saying that, uh it they they go through anything to, they do some really dumb stuff in prison to try to commit suicide. The Guardian, an article of General Sir David uh, Rethbrom, who had formerly served as Her Majesty's Chief Inspector of Prisons, suggested the whole life sentencing be replaced by indefinite sentencing. For this would have at least give prisoners the hope of eventually release and reduce the risk of their ending their own lives by suicide, as well as making their management easier for prison officials. God, man, I just I'm surprised about a lot of when you're having situations like this. It's that whole thing of there's no bad idea. But suicide, people that commit suicide, they want that out. Very rarely, if a person really wants to kill himself. I had a guy that lived downstairs from me for my old apartment, and I found out, kept on putting plastic bags over his head, trying to kill himself. And he eventually succeeded. And I'm talking like, from what they said, it was like 3 weeks of him constantly putting a plastic bag over his head, and then it fell. He failed committing suicide constantly, but eventually did it. Shipman's motivation for suicide was never established. He was in prison. He probably got pissy about it. Though he told his probational officer that he was considering suicide to assure his wife's financial security after he was stripped of his National Health Services pension. Primrose Shipman received full NHS pension. Okay, he probably did it for that. She would not have been entitled to it if Shipman had lived past the age of 60. Additionally, there was evidence that Primrose, who had considered protesting Shipman's innocence despite the overwhelming evidence, had begun to suspect of his guilt. Shipman refused to take part in courses which would have encouraged acknowledgement of his crimes, leading to the temporary removal of his privileges, including the opportunity to phone his wife. During these periods, according to Shipman's cellmate, he received a letter from Primrose exhorting him, "Tell me everything, no matter what." A 2005 inquiry found Shipman's suicide could have been predicted and prevented, but that procedures should nevertheless be re-examined. Uh, the aftermath. In January 2001, Chris Craig, a senior West Yorkshire police detective, was selected to lead an investigation into the 22 of the West Yorkshire deaths. Following this, the Shipman inquiry submitted in July 2002, concluding that he had killed at least 218 of his patients between 1975 and 1998, during which time he practiced in Tortimore and Hyde. Dame Janet Smith, the judge who submitted the report, admitted that many more deaths of this suspicious nature could have been defined and ascribed to Shipman. Basically, they were pointing everything to Shipman. Most of his victims were elderly women in good health. In her sixth to final report issued on January 24th, 2005, Smith reported that she believed that Shipman had killed 3 patients. What? Had killed 3 patients, and she had serious suspicion about 4 further deaths, including that of a 4-year-old girl during the early stages of his medical career. Profane General Infirmary. In total, 459 people died while under his care between 1971 and 1998. But it was uncertain how many of those were his murder victims. God, that that would that would piss me off. You think someone died of like cancer or something like that, or a bullet wound, and this guy just ended up just killing him. He took the easy way out. See, people. Smith estimated Shipman's total victim count over the 27th year period was 250. The GMC charged $6 doctors who signed cremation forms for Shipman's victims with misconduct, claiming they should have noticed the pattern between Shipman's home visit and his patient's death. All these doctors were found not guilty. Thank God, because it wasn't their fault. In October 2005, a similar hearing was held against 2 doctors who worked the Thamesend General Hospital in 1994, who failed to detect that Shipman had deliberately administered a grossly excessive dose of morphine. The Shipman inquiries recommended charges to the structure of the GMC. In 2005, it came to light that Shipman may have stolen jewelry from his victims. In 1998, police had seized over 10,000 pounds worth of jewelry they found in his garage. In March 2005, when Primrose asked for its return, police wrote that to the families of Shipman's victims, asking them to identify the jewelry. Unidentified items were handed to the assets recovery agencies, which, I mean, it's kind of was a non-ministerial government department in the UK. It was established under the Proceeds Act, Criminal Act of 2002, to reduce crime by confiscating the proceeds of any crime. It was granted a new power of civil recovery through the High Court in May. That investigation ended in August. Authorities returned 66 pieces of primroses and auctioned 33 pieces that she confirmed were not hers. Proceeds of the auction went to Tameside Victim Support. Tameside Victim Support. The only piece returned to a patient's family was a platinum diamond ring, for which the family proved a photograph was proof of ownership. The Memorial Gardens to Shipman's victim, called the Garden of Tranquility, opened in Hyde Park in Hyde, England, on July 30th, 2005. As in early 2009, families of over 200 victims of Shipman were still seeking compensation for their loss of their relatives. September 2009, letters Shipman wrote in prison to friends were to be sold at auction, but following complaints from the victims' relatives and the media, the sale was withdrawn. uh Shipman's effect. The Shipman case and a series of recommendations in the Shipman inquiry reports led to charges to standard medical practitioners in the UK, now referred as the Shipman effect. Many doctors reported charges in their disposition practices and reluctance to the risk over prescribing pain medication may have been led to under prescription. Death certificate practices were altered as well. Perhaps the largest charge was the movement from single doctor general practitioner to multiple doctor practitioners. This was not recommendation, but rather because the report stated that there was not enough safeguarding and monitoring of doctors' decisions. The forms needed to be needed for a cremation in England and Wales have been had their questions altered as a direct result of the Shipman case. For example, the person or persons organize the funeral must answer, do you know or suspect that the death of the person who has died was violent or unnatural? Do you consider that there should be any further examination to the remains of the person who has death? Basically, what they're saying is they have to ask this questions just like law enforcement had to give you the, fuck, I forget about it. uh Hey, you're getting arrested, but they asked if that person is crazy though, and they asked that question. It's like, you know what, I saw Bob like coming around a little bit more often. But basically they're asking if this person do you suspect murder or of these cases, or something else, so they can examine it. But that's pretty much the case. This is kind of a short one, but kind of a decent one. I'm gonna go over the stuff and everything like that right now, and I'm gonna give out my opinion. uh, like I said, we covered a case like this with the doctor or the nurse, with the Vicky Don Jackson case, that they ended up killing their patient. Sometimes they feel that that person needs to have a release. Basically, they're they're killing out of not guilt, but they're being that person's savior, no matter what. If it's uh they're not thinking they're doing a bad thing, and that's primarily what happens in these things. They're not they're not believing that they're bad. I mean, even Vicky Don Johnson, we went over that. Even in jail, she believes that she was doing the right thing, and she doesn't have any guilt from it. And that's the reason why they can keep on killing like that, dozens. If she wasn't stopped, she would have kept on killing because she believed that she was doing the right thing, which she wasn't. I mean, even Jeffrey, no, is it Jeffrey Dahmer? No, Jeffrey Dahmer was the actual Shelley killer. God, fucking the guy that used to uh suicide people. Oh, I can't say suicide. Yeah, it was a suicide. He would assisted suicide. That's what it was. He would assist suicide people that were terminally ill. Uh, and it got around to it that's the reason why we can't do assisted suicide anymore. Some countries actually do it. I might get docked for that, but who cares? It's the right terminology. Uh, I'm not gonna get on the show. I'll get it on another show. Uh, maybe a what the hell episode. But it's one of those things that they believe they should be absolved from all guilt, and they should be they're basically wondering, why are you saying that I'm a horrible person? Because I ended their lives because they needed to be ended because they're old, or it's mostly against elderly. Very few murders in this case, because it in his case it was murder. Uh in some cases it's Kevorkian. That's what it was. His name, Dr. Kevorkian. Sorry, I just remembered it. But then in cases like Dr. Kevorkian, he if you go over his stuff, a lot of people didn't do any kind of research. He literally, before he actually did the assisted suicide, he basically went over, are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure? But I'll help you out. But his ego, after he kept on getting acquitted of all charges and everything, found not guilty, he started getting an ego, a big time ego, like he was untouchable. And that's what was his downfall. Which, depending, in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, you can give me flack on it or not. I will debate you on this. Assisted suicide in cases that the person is in an immense pain, there's no chance of reversal of the disease, or, well, we'll just say disease because cancer is considered a disease. They should allow them a peaceful death. And this is coming from a person that my mom committed suicide. Now, she was fixed up and everything like that. I don't think that would be warranted to her. But people that are having stomach cancer, or liver cancer, or leukemia, or all kinds of stuff, they're not going to be able to come back from. That there is no cure for it. Uh, should they have a peaceful death? I mean, we have taboo in this country of that and everything like that, to the point where, no, you can't help kill. We're trying to do the mobile thing. It's that whole thing of holding on. It's, in my opinion, and this is my opinion, uh on situations like that, if there's a way out, but it's the hard road, take the hard road. It'll toughen you up. I'm not gonna lie. It'll toughen you up. It'll make you see the light in a little bit better situation. Uh, Not a lot of stuff bothers you. But if you're in a situation, there is no way you are going to be cured, and you're just gonna live your life in pain, then yeah, uh there's a way out of that pain. It's just a suicide, but because of a lot of religions and everything like that, suicide is considered to be taboo and bad, because their world of thinking is God's not taking you yet, and you can't go against God. But I'm sorry. I feel that if a person's just rattled with cancer, and every movement they bring, every breath they take is pain, then let them release. A lot of people don't like that ideal, because what they want is the people that, like, the family members that's not feeling this pain, because you're not feeling their pain. And it sickens me after the people die. They say, well, at least they're not in pain anymore. You could have done that a long time ago. Like I've heard like patients that've gone in like months, year. Just that whole year was just pain for them. They're on morphine. They're not coherent enough to talk or anything like that. You're just basically keeping the body alive. So you can come in and feel that person being there, which you should feel horrible for that. I'm sorry. You should really feel horrible just keeping that person alive because of your own you'll miss them. And it's just one of those things that I, as an opinion, I want you to put that up. It's just my opinion. You can thrash me on and we'll debate this stuff. Like I said, I will debate the holy hell out of this stuff because I believe in it. I don't feel that we should go in through our whole lives in excruciating pain. Now, if it's like, arthritis and stuff like that, yeah, it's unbearable and everything like that. But if you can still help society out, yeah, you live with the pain. But if you're just there on a bed and people come visit you and everything like that, I don't think you should. I think you should have the choice of ending it. If you take, I mean, there should be steps and everything like that to take. It's like, is this curable? It's going to be a long time. Okay, then ixnay on the suicide stuff. But you, it just hurts me to see someone in pain when they don't have to be in pain. Now, am I going to do this stuff? No, no. David is not going to do that. He's not going to be part of that. Uh, I'm not a statistic person. I don't. Even if I have to administrating person and they are very 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 not likely to live through this whole thing. I mean, it's 100%. They're barely scraping bound. I will not do it. That there's other people that can do it, and I'm just not one of those people. So we can get away from that sadistic side. I will not do that, and I will not be anywhere near it. I'll be like, okay, is he euthanized or not? Okay, I'm done. I'll say my goodbyes. Wish you well. Blah blah blah. Boom. But anyways, everybody, I'm David Dickerman. Thank you for listening, watching, whatever you're doing to get our content. Don't forget to share this stuff if you like it, and you think a friend of mine will like it too. Uh, just gets us out there, gets talking to other people and everything like that, and enjoy our content. Thank you, everybody. Goodbye.